Monday, February 21st. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor Burchill?
Here.
District 1 Morissette?
Here.
District 2 Yaxon? Here. District 3 Bernard? Here. District 4 Wyland?
Here.
District 5 O'Malley?
Here.
District 6 Vanslow?
Here. At this point in our agenda, we ask for comments and suggestions from any citizens present on any item that is not on the agenda tonight. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council? If not, we'll move on to our consent agenda items.
To approve the regular meeting minutes of February 7th, 2011. To approve claims for payment in the amount of $392,888.33. A detailed description is available in the clerk's office on request and is posted on the city's website. To approve the issuance of 2 regular operators licenses for the period February 22nd, 2011 to June 30th, 2012. Additional information is available in the clerk's office on request. And to approve the issuance of 2 temporary operators licenses for the March 26, 2011 Hudson Hockey Association Meltdown event from 2 p.m. to midnight. Additional information is available in the clerk's office on request. To place on file the quarterly report of the Water Utility Director, February 8, 2011 meeting minutes of the Public Utilities Commission, and the January 19, 2011 meeting minutes of the Library Board. And that is all.
Madam Clerk, on our application, I didn't have the item 4 application as a consent, but we added that on consent. Is it?
That's for the operator's licenses for that event.
Okay, for the operator's license. Okay, thank you.
Move for approval.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Let's do a roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes.
O'Malley?
Yes.
Wyland?
Yes.
Vanslow?
Yes.
Bernard? Yes. Yaku? Yes.
Okay. Now we move for application of the Hudson Hockey Association for temporary Class B license to sell beer on 3/26 for the Hudson Hockey Association Meltdown event.
Move for approval.
Second.
Is there any discussion on that? As Nancy told us, this is their 4th license for the Hockey Association. We have approved 6 for any one organization, so this is their 4th one. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 6 is consider filling vacancy of the Hudson Police Department patrol position. Marty, would you like to come up and give us a quick, it was approved at Finance and it was approved at Public Safety.
We currently have budgeted for 14 patrol officer positions. We had an officer that resigned in the beginning part of February here, so now we're down 1 officer. So what I'm asking for is to replace that officer by going through the hiring process through the Police and Fire Commission. As I told the Finance Committee, I do anticipate at the earliest getting this person on board maybe April, but it could be even longer. So there are some savings to the police department and to the city for the difference between the officer's budget that resigned and the officer that we'll be hiring. So somewhere in the area of about $11,000 I anticipate saving on getting that position, but I need to get that position filled and up and running as soon as possible before we get into the summer months, holidays and 4th of July and so forth. I didn't mention to the Finance Committee, I'm going to be down 1 officer beginning tomorrow, 1 more officer beginning tomorrow, as Officer Hall is going to be on light duty due to a pregnancy. So now I'm down 2 positions.
I'll move for approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 7, consider increasing meter fees and fines for downtown parking. Finance Committee recommended to go on to City Council with no recommendation. Mary, do you want to start this off?
Sure. I brought this to the attention of Public Safety Committee, basically to try and offset some costs for a new parking lot, for expansion, for purchase and expansion for a new parking lot. I know that we have an ordinance in place for payment in lieu of parking. I do have concerns that might not be enough, or that in order for money to go into that budget item, someone will actually have to build or, have actual need for parking to have to pay into payment in lieu of parking. We never know. We don't know if that's really going to happen or not. It could. It very well should, hopefully. But it was also brought to my attention that was kind of, they felt that was a high cost for payment in lieu of parking. So I thought maybe we'd get some ideas together to generate a different form of revenue for a parking lot. And this was basically one idea I had that I've been working on to try and generate more revenue, specifically for purchase and creation of a new parking lot in downtown Hudson when the need arises to have one. So,
You want to talk a little bit about the chamber, what we did at?
I did meet with the parking committee twice, and Kim Heineman from the chamber also put out a survey, which you've received in your packets. 60 businesses were contacted through this survey, and only 21 responded. If you're going to go off who responded, there seems to be not, it's a 50-50 type, response to raising the meters, but there was also only 20 responses out of 60. So I kind of look at it as maybe the other 40 were indifferent. So I don't necessarily take this survey positive or negative. I just take it as businesses are indifferent down there. I think that I don't want to speak for Kim, but it seemed positive towards support of doing or making an attempt to do what we're doing to try and raise money, specifically because the money will have a sole purpose. It won't have multiple purposes. It will be for one purpose.
Okay. Any other comments? Lee, you have any?
Well, I may have a couple.
Sure.
Okay. And I think I'll be more eloquent than at finance. One of the things that and I brought up at safety, I'm concerned about is I agree with the plan. I mean, we've been putting money away. The money that we take in now is used for maintaining parking lots and is set aside for purchasing new parking lots. And part of what we used to buy the library parking lot was parking lot funds. So I think the plan has been working. Obviously, what we're trying to do here is accelerate the amount of revenue that's collected to build parking lots in the future. What I asked at finance, I was talking about an overall plan. How do we, raising meter rates is part of the plan. Identifying where there might be parking lot spaces in the future is part of the plan. Payment in lieu of parking is part of the plan. I'm not opposed to this, but what I'm looking for before approving it is a complete plan. If you look at I call it a business plan, I think that's not too far off, that says our income lines for building new parking lots are meter rates and payment in lieu of parking. The things that we would have as part of that plan would say income projections over the next 5 to 10 years. And yes, Devin did provide that we bring in about $40,000 a year at 30%. But looking at 5 years, 10 years, estimated costs for building those lots in 5 years. So we could target and say, we will be ready to purchase and build a lot in 4 years or in 5 years. Because that way we can go back to our constituents and say, yes, you're going to pay twice as much at your meter. And we are reevaluating how much money each business sets aside to purchase parking. And based on our projections, we will be ready to buy a parking lot at this time. And I think that altogether would be a good business plan. I think right now we got pieces of it working on, but we're not working on the whole plan. So I would ask that we consider putting the whole plan together and bring it back to the council as a complete plan. So, short and sweet versus finance.
Okay. Is there any motion? Is that a motion, Lee, or is? Does anyone have a motion?
I will make that a motion, see if
Okay.
I can make it go.
Is there a second?
I'll second. Please, if you will, please restate the motion
Okay.
in a sentence or two.
2 sentences?
Well, a sentence with a semicolon.
It was 80 sentences at finance. Should I shorten it up?
Quick, please.
Okay, thank you. I make a motion that we ask the people that are working on the parking here to work with Public Works and with the information that's currently available and with Mr. Darnold to put together a plan that shows increases in rates, increases in, or changes in parking, payment in lieu of parking, and income projections over the 5 to 10 years, put together the locations, I know we can't publicize them, but locations in which parking lots could be built, and put this together as one plan, and bring it back for us to review and approve.
I'll keep my second, please.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Denny, is that something you can conceptually project out and do?
Well, as I mentioned, I think the key is parking management. Is how do you manage a downtown parking program? One of my comments I made at the Finance Committee was, do you uniformly want to raise rates for every parking meter that's in downtown Hudson? There may be some in some of the lots that may want to keep at the current rate because that provides an incentive for people to park in those parking lots and get off the street. You want to raise the meter rates for the highest turnover stalls that you have. That's the purpose of having parking meters. Again, something like the lot between the Phipps Center and Pier 500, maybe you want to put parking meters in there, and there's ways of potentially doing it. There's newer technologies that you just assign, you plug in a number for the parking stall number, and it only takes a small area versus having meters in front of every parking stall. So it becomes an overall management program that you're really trying to take. I don't disagree with what Lee's saying. I guess I don't want to be, if I'm going to get involved in that, I don't want to be bound by certain things. I'd like the opportunity to come back with the best recommendations I feel I can make. And working with other committees, the Public Works, the Police Department, maybe the Enforcement Provision, and then come back with a recommendation. I guess I'm not, the only thing I'm really arguing on this rate consideration is I'm not sure you want to raise the meter rates on all the meters because you may want to have an incentive disincentive program within the meters considerations themselves. And also I think we need to reanalyze where our utilization of our existing parking lots. Over here to the south, we have permit parking right in the first parking meters or parking stalls you have. Behind it you have 4-hour parking. Why don't you want to have the 4-hour parking where people coming into downtown trying to use that 4-hour parking is the first parking stalls that you see? Because those are the ones you want the people coming in downtown to use. So part of that's the management. How do we restructure those parking lots to better utilize them? So I think all I'm asking for is maybe a provision of having more time to look at the overall management consideration.
How much time?
I
mean, the problem with this,
Randy, the only reason I'm not giving you an answer because my phone is absolutely ringing off the hook with proposals for private development. I mean, I can't hardly stay off the phone. It's the last 2 weeks have just been incredible.
the problem is that after 20 years, how long has we've had this parking problem? How long have we been trying to build these funds up, to buy, or somehow expand our parking? I don't want to see this slow down.
No, I appreciate that comment.
And one of the reasons our parking is a little bit lower is we bought a parking lot. And those funds were used to buy it.
When's the last time we increased parking rates?
5 years ago, I think.
Yeah, went from 10 to 25.
And compared to the surrounding area, do we have any idea what we compare to the surrounding? I know compared to Stillwater, we're extremely low. Because Stillwater, you're going to spend $2 for an hour.
River Falls is 10 cents still.
Well,
We can't compare.
no, you can't compare because River Falls has one parking lot that they offer for free, where we have multiple. So I don't necessarily think comparing to River Falls works. In Stillwater, they have 4-hour parking, 3-hour parking. They have up huge parking ramp that's only 1/3 full all the time that costs $5 million. I mean, there's so many variables in each city. I think that we offer one amenity that neither of those cities offer, and that's like 8 or 9 parking lots that after 5 p.m. are completely free, you know, for patrons to park in.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt we need money for parking, and the future plan is that we need to build parking somewhere if we're gonna have business development in downtown. And we're asking business owners, if they come into the city, to pay for parking that doesn't exist today, and there's no plan for them to have parking, but we're asking them to pay for it.
Right.
So, I mean, if you're gonna ask a business owner to pay for parking where there is no plan, then raising meters without a specific plan, I don't think is out of the question. And the plan is to have parking and build funds for parking. So I think it's reasonable.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, our motion, would you read that motion back, please, and then we'll vote on it?
To ask staff to work with Public Works and Denny Darnold regarding the information available for increases in rates and projected plan for locations to create a business plan for council review.
Everybody understand that? Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No.
3-3? I'll vote no. So motion fails.
I'd like to make a motion that we increase the rates, and after increasing the rates, we go about developing the plan that was asked for.
Okay. With the recommended, Mr. Vanslo, that was recommended in the, okay? Is there a second?
Increase, what is the rate increase?
I would go with the rate increase that was proposed, to the 50 cents an hour.
Okay.
Through all the parking lots.
Yep.
Is there a second?
I think that's,
So, are we also gonna increase the fines then as well? Correct.
I don't know if that's,
The recommendation was 5 to 7 on the fines and 25 to 50 on the.
I'll include recommending the increase in the fines too.
okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, discussion.
Just want to be clear that you still want Public Works to work with Denny on the plan, okay.
Okay.
I guess the reason I'm not in agreement with it is Denny may come back and say, you know, after looking at it more comprehensively, we should only raise the rates on Second Street and on Locust, and we should lower it in the parking lots. I'm afraid he asked for some flexibility. I'm afraid we're gonna tie his hands if we make this decision to change rates before we.
Do
And
we,
you're not talking 6 months to a year to look at this.
but do we really think,
Complete as soon as possible.
do we really think people are going to go searching for a quarter meter versus a 50-cent meter? I guess, I don't know, I don't see that happening.
The only case where I could see that happening, and it has been part of the issue, is with employee parking, tying up some key spots. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I mean, I think that's been an issue, that some employees will park in somewhat prime spots and tie them up for extended periods of time. I could see where someone working downtown might choose to park in a slightly more distant location with a lower
Well,
meter fee. I mean, it's just a.
You have a very salient point there, Lori. It's my district. I'm down there all the time. Employee parking right in front of the businesses is a problem. And I think that you are correct that employees may choose to go to 25-cent meters instead of 50-cent meters. The question that I would have is that if the business plan then recommends strongly that some meters stay at 25 cents rather than be increased to 50 under the current motion, there is a cost to changing these meters. You know, you just don't automatically take a 25-cent meter and make it a 50-cent, or take a 50-cent meter, which we would then have, and bring it back at 25 cents. There's a cost involved in having all of those re-engineered.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And I think we were
Don't
told
you think, don't you think that the employee parking issue is monitored by the business owner? If I have a business downtown and I've got 6 parking spots in front of my business, and I have employees working for me, I might say to my employees, you know, I'd like those spots for my customers, and can you just park somewhere further down? You know, it happens up at Home Depot, or it happens at County Market. They've got a complete parking lot. Those employees don't park, and it's free parking, And they don't park right in front of the door because their employer is saying, look, for the good of the business, for both you and for me, would you please park somewhere else so that we can have customer parking in front of our business? So it's a self-monitoring type thing by the
And I
business
think
owner.
you might think that would be the case, but I think we've heard from some business owners that that doesn't always happen.
I can tell you that in a perfect world, Rich, that it absolutely would occur, and there are many business owners who do have that discussion with their employees. It is still a problem.
I think meters are supposed to be for turnover, no matter if they're an employee or not. And I think really employees of the city should maybe consider buying spots for the contract parking, which aren't meant for turnover, which is what is supposed to be happening as an employee. You're not supposed to be even sitting at a quarter meter for 8 hours, because that is supposed to be for turnover. I mean, you can, but the point of meters is turnover, not for someone to keep plugging it all day long. You know, but that's their option, and I guess that's the choice they're making.
Well, there is some odd psychology going on here, Mary, that I don't understand. I personally know of employees of businesses who have free parking 1 block away, but will still park right in front of their place of business and plug that meter all day long.
And that's where I agree with Rich, where if I was the manager, or the business owner of that business, I would be like, move it or lose it, you know?
And that doesn't, apparently that's not happening.
I want patrons to park here, not you. So,
Well, I guess I don't see the harm in giving Denny some time to look at it more comprehensively before we move ahead of him, so I won't be supporting the motion.
Okay.
Just to clarify, it wasn't noted on the issue sheet, but from the committee, it's 50 cents for an hour, 25 for a half hour, 10 cents for 12 minutes, and 5 cents for 6 minutes.
yes.
Just, it wasn't in the issue sheet. Catherine just wanted to make sure.
And let me clarify, if Denny comes back and says, you know what, let's change them all to 50, this makes sense, here's the overall plan, I'm not saying I won't support it at that time, I'm just saying, let's give him a little bit longer to look at it.
I
Well-
do question which meter spot is not a prime spot in downtown Hudson. I mean, that's,
I struggle with that too. Every meter is always full.
That's not what we heard.
Yeah, that's,
We heard that some of the spots are not used. And that's some of the information we should get on the table, and we should all be looking at. We all have our own perception, but let's,
and as far as, at the previous meeting, I said there's a number of other ways that we can collect additional funds that we haven't looked at. And that is, right now, they're basically enforced from, 9 to 4, somewhere in that area. Well, have we considered using 8 to 6? Have we considered on Saturdays, have it 9 to 5 on Saturdays? If you look at what we're paying versus what we're taking in over those periods of time, we can look at those options as well.
I'd like to ask a question of Chief Jensen. Marty, you were here when we changed the meters before. I seem to have, at best I can recollect, a figure of about $40 per meter to re-engineer them to take different coins. Am I remembering that? Do you remember what it cost? Because we had to send them all in to Eagle and get them all back again.
Right, we had to do that. That was back when we used to have the mechanical
Right.
turn devices. Now that we have the double Eagles, it's all electronic. They will program whatever rate we want into a handheld programming unit that they will ship to us on a rental basis. Our meter monitors will go around to each one of the units, connected to it, it'll automatically change those rates on the spot. The only thing we'll have to change will be the metal plate that describes what the rates are on top, and that will be an extra fee. We did get a quote from a company that we've done business with for a number of years, and they're estimating if we do all the meters with the handhelds and the plates, it's going to be around $600.
Good. Less than I thought.
Rich, is there a percentage that you're looking to collect? Which in your motion? Are you saying 30%?
Yeah, I like the 30% going into the parking plan.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
I wonder if we have to amend the motion to include where the $600 is going to come from.
come from the parking fund, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but we have to say that.
I didn't do motions.
Oh, you have a motion
you can
before us.
amend
So we have to include the $600 from where it's coming from?
Because it's realistically going to happen, so you
I'll
just say it.
amend the motion to include $600 from the parking fund to pay for the change in the meters.
I'll accept it.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
4-2. Motion carries. Okay. Number 7, which is unfinished business, consider rescinding moratorium on electronic messaging board signs. Ordinance number 3-11. Mr. Darnold.
For about a year, we've had a moratorium on the construction or installation of electronic reader boards. On January 31st of this year, we adopted the revised sign code. However, the moratorium ran through the end of March. The purpose of the moratorium is allow the City Council, Plan Commission to adopt new regulations. Those are in place. I'm recommending that you adopt Ordinance 3-11, which would rescind the moratorium and make that effective date March 11th. The reason that date was chosen because the ordinance has to be published before it becomes effective, and we can't publish it this Thursday because we can't get it in the newspaper. We'd have to publish it the next Thursday, and I'm only saying add one more week so we can give us a little bit of leeway in case for some reason that doesn't get published. So I'm asking for requesting or suggesting March 11th would become the effective date.
Move to suspend the rules.
Okay.
Morissette,
Yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Wyland,
Yes.
Vanslo,
Yes.
Bernard, Yaku.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve this? Anybody?
Move to adopt ordinance 3-11.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A couple things. I think everyone's aware of all the turmoil and stuff going on in Madison. Very concerned from the standpoint of revenue that we may or may not be receiving from Madison when this new budget comes out, if it ever comes out. It's been an eventful week for our employees particularly, and the rest of the state. I've been in contact with all of our employee representatives on both the phone and in person. At this point, we do not know the outcome of the business in Madison, but hopefully it'll be resolved in the near future. I can tell everyone in Hudson and you folks that our employees have and will continue to do their jobs in a professional manner. I was impressed with the phone call I received that says, you don't have to worry about us, we'll do our jobs because we have a contract. So we should be proud of our employees, and I'm very proud of all of them because they've done a good job and they continue to do a good job for all of the citizens of Hudson. And that's all I had. Does anyone else have anything else? Any alderperson? City attorney?
Nothing.
City administrator?
Nothing.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.